Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. I am the GM Philosopher. Today I'm talking about getting back into running games when you've had a bit of a break. Maybe you're feeling a little rusty, right? Sometimes when you are in the middle of a campaign and it's going, you're rolling, you kind of get in a zone and you get into the craft. But then if you take a break, you come back into it, sometimes it can feel a little rough. That's what this video is about. I just ran my first game of D&D that I've run in like months the other night for my new group playing in my new campaign, The Darkest Dawn. And by the way, I still have 2 slots open for this game. And if you click link down in the description, you can actually check this game out and start playing games. And you can join me if you would like. I also plan to start a second game after this one fills up. So for those of you who may want to jump in and join me, that will be an option. Probably looking for another 8-ish players over the coming month to join me in playing some awesome D&D. With that being said, I did feel rusty when I ran basically session 0, which kind of morphed into the beginnings of session 1 in that session the other night. And I kind of want to talk through this. This is going to be a little personal, okay? So it has been months since I've run a game. This is really probably the second time in my life since I've been 15 years old that I've gone a significant amount of time without running any games, without playing any D&D, without playing any kind of TTRPGs. And I noticed a few things. Number one, I noticed that my attention to detail was not what I wanted it to be. As I reflected back on the session, I realized, wow, there were so many opportunities for deeper detail that I normally wouldn't have missed, like things that I kind of glossed over that I wish I would have basically paid more attention to, zoned in on more. I didn't do some of those things. And looking back on it, I thought, oh, what a missed opportunity, right? So there's a little bit of like, kind of feel like just the attention to detail was lacking, okay? But there's another thing. I felt like at times the pacing was a tad bit awkward, which was kind of on me being a little bit sporadic in kind of switching scenes and initiating encounters and things like that. So those are the kind of the things that I noticed looking back on the session that I think, okay, those are things I definitely want to improve in session 2, right? And this is the thing. We are always trying to improve. We're always trying to evolve. However, we don't want to hold ourselves to a standard where we can't meet it. We don't want to ruin the game for ourselves. We want to have fun. Also, that's a really important part of running a game. If you're not running a game that you enjoy, then that's going to be no bueno, as they say. It's going to be no good. So what can we do? Well, here's my advice. If you haven't been running, many games and you kind of get back into it and you feel a little rusty, or maybe you ran a session, felt rusty, what can you do about it? Well, I've got 4 tips for you. Tip number 1, I think that it's really important to give yourself a little bit of grace in that first session back. So if you run a session and you feel a little rusty, feel like it didn't go super great, then basically giving yourself the freedom to just run that session, just have fun, and then, kind of debrief, look back at it when you're done running the session, make a few notes about what you'd like to improve next time, get some ideas for what you could do to kind of tighten it up next time, and then just deploy those ideas in your next session, okay? So this is very much a, process of looking at our craft and just being, analytical about the actual quality of it, and then what we can do to improve, like a little bit of self-reflection, self-improvement about our actual performance. This is sometimes hard to do because we can tend to get down on ourselves when we do this. However, it is the best way to improve. And the truth is, when you've just come off a break from running TTRPGs, you are likely primed to run some of your best stuff ever because you have all of your creativity from the past, but you've also had a bit of a rest period. And now you're ready to come in with not only all the skills you had before, because running games is kind of like riding a bike. Once you learn it, you really retain that knowledge. I believe it's very much like intellectual muscle memory. Drop a comment, let me know if you agree. But what I'm trying to say is you have all of that muscle memory, and then you have rest that came from a break. And now when you're jumping back in, you might have new ideas. You might have new inspiration. You might have watched some new shows, read some new books, brainstormed some cool new ideas that you can put in your game. This next session, this next adventure, this next arc campaign you're going to run is probably going to be the best thing you have ever run. And I think that this leads into point number 2, which is strive for the best. Hope for the best, okay? And believe in yourself. So I believe that this campaign, The Darkest Dawn, is going to be the best thing I ever run. Am I extremely happy with how session 1 went down? No, not really. Do I believe it was the best session I've ever run? Definitely not. High key not. Was it in the top 10 worst I've ever run? No, I don't think so. I just think I overlooked some details that I wish I would have zoomed in on, and I felt like the pacing was a little weird. Those were kind of the two things that I felt like I want to improve next time. With that being said, I totally see how with the player characters, the players are coming up with the cool elements they're bringing to the table, and then the storyline that's getting started here, I can really tell there's the capacity for greatness. And I know that if I deploy my full skills as a game master, bringing my experience to the table, I can make this next campaign the very best it's ever been. And I have an optimistic, hopeful viewpoint of that. And that's what I want you to have. If you're feeling a little rusty, I want you to come into it with hope as opposed to a fear, right? We don't want to be fear-based in our deployment of our next game. We want to be hope-based. We want to believe in ourselves, right? Trust in ourselves to do the very best work we've ever done. Now, speaking of experience running games, I do have a free ebook that I offer for free to anyone visiting the channel. It's called 10-Minute GM Mastery Kit. And basically, this is an ebook where I take my top 10 most important and crucial tips for how to run awesome games, gathered by over 20 years of running games, which I've been running games for over 20 years, compact into a 10-minute read. So if you want to level up your next session, you can grab that free link in the description. Can't go wrong. It'll also add you to my email newsletter list, and sometimes you'll get cool emails from me. Now, if you want to go deeper, I also have a paid ebook called The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. This is probably the best book I've ever written when it comes to like running better TTRPGs. It's all about using emotional resonance to create a transcendent game experience. If you want to run the kind of games where your players literally are at the edge of their seat, they can't wait to come back next week. They're enthralled by the story that's being created by all of you together. And it is just like a truly emotionally connecting, engaging, transcendent experience, which has been my experience with the vast majority of games I've run. You can learn all of my philosophies, insights, tactics, thought processes that I use as a foundation. This book has them all in it. 50 pages. I believe this book is going to go down in history as one of the most important works of like basically describing how to run transcendent TTRPGs, like games that are deeper than just games that really emotionally resonate, engage the players. So I would encourage you to grab that. Links in the description. It's available for a special introductory price right now because it's a brand new product. Now, with that being said, I want to launch into tip number 3 here, which is launch and keep going. Okay. So there might be some people who, if they feel rusty and they jump into the next session, the first session, whatever, and they don't feel like they did a great job, they may be tempted to hang it up. They may be tempted to say, I've lost my edge. I can't do this anymore. I'm not as creative as I used to be. They might be tempted to even give up, to cancel the campaign, cancel the next session. Maybe they're afraid of disappointing their players. Maybe they're afraid of just having it be a flop. They're afraid their players are going to leave. But I want to encourage you not to do this. And the truth is, I think that most people probably aren't going to go to this length. Like maybe they're thinking to themselves they're a little discouraged if they feel rusty. Maybe there's a part of them that wonders if they should just stop, but they probably won't actually do it. But there are some GMs who might literally run a session and then just cancel the next one and say, you know what, I'm just not good at this. And they get discouraged and then they don't want to continue. But I want to encourage you. The number one thing that's going to help you to get back in that zone is to run the next session, and then to run the next session and run the next session. I'm so excited for the next session because I've been doing a lot of prep now that we kind of started, and it was a shaky session 1 for me, I felt like, but now we have such a solid baseline. And so I've prepped some cool stuff and I'm like, yes, this is going to be so much better. I'm going to have so much up my sleeve for this next session to make it even better, even more detailed, even more engaging. I'm going to have more stuff for my players, right? So it's like, every step we take, every adventure we run, every time we sit down with our players and we run that next session, you're greasing the wheels. You're getting back into the flow of it. Okay. This is really important. Give yourself time. Give yourself 4, 5, 6 sessions to really get back into your element and to get that co-creative energy going again with your players, because that energy is really important. That will feed you, make you love the game so much more, really get you back into your element fastest. But in order for that to happen, we do want to run consistent games. And that's going to lead to point number 4. And this is what I want you to remember. Consistency is incredibly important for D&D or any TTRPG. One of the hardest things to come back from is like a scattered game schedule. So it's like if you plan to play every week, but then you play a week, then you have to cancel for a week. Then you play the next week, but then like 3 players can't show up the next week and vice versa. This can be very hard on a game, but the hardest thing on a game is when the game master has to cancel for some reason. So I realize that like real life happens. We cannot always be in every single game without fail. We can't just make the game time such a religious experience that we forsake everything else to do it. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I am trying to say that if you care about it and you feel a little bit rusty coming back into it, then one of the best ways, one of the best tools you can use, one of the best chances you can give yourself to overcome that kind of rough feeling beginning and get right back into the flow is by honoring that consistent schedule as best as you can. So like, even if, I would encourage you to play with whoever shows up. Just plan for that time, honor that time, show up prepared, ready to play, ready to improvise, ready to storytell. And even if you only have 1 or 2 players show up, I'm telling you, friend, be ready to run for them. If everyone's cool with it, if they're fine with it, you be fine with it. Because when we stay true to that consistent pacing, we really give ourselves our best chance to boom, 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 get back into that rhythm. And I think it's really important. I think it can be difficult to get consistency built back up when we're feeling rusty, because we might be tempted to cancel to give ourselves more prep time or whatever. But I would encourage you not to do that. I would encourage you to prioritize consistency very highly. Now, I want to also let you know that if you love my YouTube channel and you'd like to support it, I'm making a huge effort to boost my channel, to build my channel, to build GM philosophy to new heights, doing cool new stuff. I would encourage you to join our free Discord community. Links in the description. It's a community for game masters. Empowering game masters to run better games is our goal. And you can support me even if you don't want to buy any of my products. You can become a YouTube member. You can watch videos before they're released to the public. As soon as I upload them, boom, members can watch them so that you can watch videos ahead of schedule. Or if you're not interested in that, even, you can buy me a coffee. Link to that's in the description. I really appreciate all the support everyone gives me. You all are so amazing, and I love creating content for this channel. And with that being said, I just want to thank everyone for coming back for another one of my videos. I'm the GM Philosopher. I will see you awesome people on the next one.